Hello you, welcome to Geekism, and we're going to start working on a new project today. We're going to start having a look at the scenario editor and creating a scenario for all of you lovely people to have a go at. Now, a few things before we get started. First of all, why am I doing this? Well, one, I really want to get the scenario editor involved in the channel somehow, but I don't really fancy just doing Let's Plays of other people's scenarios. We have done Let's Plays of Planet Coaster in the past, but personally, I don't really feel like it fits the channel at the moment, that sort of content. So we're not going to be doing that. So I thought the best thing to do is to build a scenario, and also, as much as I am loving Pinewood Hills, and I really am, it's the favourite thing I've ever built in the game, sometimes it is nice to blow up a bit of steam and build something a bit crazy, and I thought that scenarios might be a good place to sort of have that sort of slightly wilder nature to what I'm building. So with that in mind, we're going to go into the scenario editor. What this video ends up looking like, I don't know. It may well be a complete time lapse. If it is, you're not hearing this. It may well be commentary with a bit of music time lapse and things like that. It may just be a straight up sort of half an hour video where we get started on something. I really don't know what it's going to be. I do have an idea in my head of what I'd like the scenario to be, but this is going to be built excuse me, it's going to be built with you guys as well. So we're only going to be starting off, but it's going to be called Red Planet. Okay. Or Red Planet Coaster even, I guess. And it's going to be in the desert biome, because the desert biome is pretty much the closest to what I want to build. Basically, I would like to build a theme park on Mars. Okay, that's going to be kind of the idea that we do here. We're going to be building a theme park on Mars, and this is really the best thing we've got to show Mars. Now, hopefully in the future we get modding, we can edit skyboxes. That'd be great. But for now, at least, we're going to be doing a Mars scene. Okay, so we're going to be thinking craters. We're going to be thinking, barren wastelands and things like that. All right, and what I want to get done in this episode, at least, is the entrance point of the park. It's not going to be. They're not going to be entering through a cave here. They're actually going to be entering through a ship. I'd like to build a spaceship. The idea here is that we've landed on Mars, we finally managed to get to Mars, and the first thing we do is we build a theme park there. So we're going to have a spaceship in the middle that all the guests are going to come out of, and then all of the objectives are going to be based around the fact that we're on Mars. So I'm thinking things like everyone's going to be very thirsty because it's going to be really hot, and things like that. Obviously, I'd love some input from you guys for sort of suggestions and ideas on that as well. So for now, I'll leave that there so that it doesn't people don't moan at it too much. But one thing I would really like to do is to start working on a bit of a crater. Now, I am no terrain expert, but what I'm going to do is get started with a pretty big size and a pretty big intensity. And I'm going to drop it down like that. Not loads, but just enough so that it's noticeable. That's a pretty good height, I think. And then we're going to flatten to foundation and make this whole thing a big old crater. Something like that sort of size, I was thinking. Something like that. How's that looking? Yep, that's going to be our main crater. And then using the pole, we're going to go around with much smaller here and kind of lift it all up. Okay. And I'm going to have a little play around with this, and we'll come back when I've got something that I think looks like a crater. Alright, there we go. That's looking a bit craterish. I mean, obviously, we'll continue doing work on this as we go, but the main focal point is definitely going to be this crater with the guests coming from the middle of it in a ship. So you're going to be building around the entrance. I think that's going to be an interesting thing that we've not seen before. Or I haven't seen before anyway, at least. Normally they come in from a side, obviously. We've only just got the scenario editor. So that's the first bit. Second bit we're going to start working on then is the actual building itself, then our spaceship. So I'm going to go into here, roof decorations, and stick down our little widget that we start off with. I usually use the column, but somebody's pointed out that this gives you a 1 meter grid that's quite nice, so we'll use that. Now, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't too sure what sort of style I wanted to do this. I mean, originally I had in my head a big flying saucer, basically proper old school 50s B-movie style spaceship. But then I thought about it, I thought the idea is that the guests are coming from Earth to visit this planet, so they wouldn't be using one of those, they would be flying in something a bit more sort of traditional. So what I was thinking of going for was something a little bit more like the moon landing buggy, something like that, but obviously it's going to be big enough to get the guest entrance in, so we could put them down first and see what sort of size we've got. Whether we can actually, I think what we have to do is go into our a scenario bit here and sort of build around it, which is not going to be fantastic, but that's going to be what we have to do, I guess. So we'll drop into here, add a spawn point. So let's have a look at this thing. It's going to be okay, so we've got an arrow to show which way they're coming in from, which is great. And then we'll sort of do this. So, I mean, part of me wants to do, like I say, like a UFO. No, do you know what I do? I want to do a UFO. I want to do a UFO in the air, flying around, and then we'll have a big sort of light up stairway coming down here that gets people into the park. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Alright, so that can be our point there. Zooms out every time you do, unfortunately. Alright, so let's go on to that one. We're going to call this one UFO entrance. There we go. So we can actually edit that as a building. Okay, so that's good. So we'll come out of that and we'll come out of the scenario editor for now. Okay, and now it gives us this horrible column, but we can get rid of that by going to our settings here, turn off path supports, and that should go. There we go, great. And then what we need to do is go back into this building. Oops. Edit the building with selected part. There we go. And then we can add down a entrance, park entrance. There it is. Whoops. We can now add one of these in as well. There we go. And then people will be able to enter the park straight away. Again, we need to go to paths and turn that off. There we go. Alright, now so we'll go for a thin path, and I mean, it doesn't really matter what colour these ones are because they're going to be up and high, so we just need something with a pretty small curb. I think apart from the ones that have sticky up bits like that, the curb is pretty standard, isn't it? So, okay, we'll use you. And we'll drop your length right down, and then we'll drop you right down. Okay, now we've done that, we can drop the length up. Oh, and that is near enough perfect. That's really irritating when that happens, but what are you going to do? I can live with it. Alright, so there we go. That's going to be the entrance. I know it's a bit crazy, but bear with me. Honestly, I think it'll look pretty good once it's done. So now we need to build a big old spaceship around this thing here. there we go. I think it still needs a bit of work. I'll be honest with you, I'm not 100% used to the sci-fi pieces. Very rarely I use them, so I'm not 100% sure what the options are with them. So I'll probably have a little bit of time off camera. But I'm kind of happy with the shape of it, at least the look of it. I think it looks pretty cool from way back here. And I've thought a little bit about it, and I've come up with a reason why we're allowed to have a spaceship. So we haven't colonised Mars. Mars was colonised, and they finally reached out to us, and now they send ships to come and pick us up and bring us to their theme park. So this is now we've got our staff here manning the ship. That's our little cockpit there. So that's kind of the reason behind it being a space, because I really wanted a UFO. I don't know why. I just wanted something that looked quite sort of ominous there. And then I've done some signage here using really light, bright signage to try and give the impression of like a light beam or something. You know, obviously, the people have got to walk down here, so there's only so much we can do. In the next episode, I kind of need your suggestions really as to where to move with it. I feel like it needs an entrance. I feel like we need to do some sort of entrance, and that's probably going to be where we go next. And after that, it's mostly then about programming the actual simulation. So figuring out what the sort of objectives could be. So any suggestions as to what we can have as objectives for a theme park on Mars? Like I say, my first thought was making it really hot, so you can make it so the guests are very thirsty. That could be one thing. Maybe make them very wandering around because they're exploring a new island, a new planet, sorry. Other than that, your suggestions, please. Maybe you'd only have roller coasters up to a certain height because of the low gravity. Anything. Please, suggestions down below. That would be fantastic. But I'm going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode 1 of Red Planet, the Planet Coaster scenario editor series that we're doing here. And this won't be a mega series, maybe 4 or 5 episodes, something like that. Then we'll release it onto the workshop for you to have a play with, and then maybe we'll start another idea. Who knows? Just sort of get into grips with it. Obviously, we haven't really done that much with the actual scenario here. In the future, we definitely will, like I say, look more at sort of programming what the actual game is going to be. But any suggestions, that would be fantastic. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give us a like. It really does help out the channel. And if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe. Any thoughts, queries or suggestions, you can pop those down in the comments. If you fancy a chat, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at John T. Sparrow. And if you'd like to join in with our Geekism community, you can do so over on our Geekism Discord server. You'll find the link in the description. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one.